Good morning. Welcome to Mantra 108, where we're working our way through the beautiful Shantipat mantra. Sarve Bhavantu, Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu, Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi, Paśyantu. Kaścidduḥkha. Bhāg, Bhavet. May all beings be comfortable and happy. May all beings be free from disease and sickness. May all beings see what is spiritually uplifting for them. And may no one suffer. May no one suffer pain. May no one suffer sorrow. So this is our mantra that we're working through. We're on day number 9, the second day of our second week. So how's everybody doing today? I just kill a little time here, spend a little time chatting with you so that we can give just a couple of moments for everyone to join. And then once everyone is here, we're going to talk about the importance of slowing down. This is the third point of our 8-point meditation plan that we're looking at right now. The meditation plan of Eknath Eswaran, who was my first meditation teacher many years ago, way back in the early 70s. So how's everybody feeling? I'm noticing that I'm not my usual chipper self. I typically wake up in the morning with great anticipation for what the day is bringing. And lately I've been noticing that I'm waking up more with a mindset of, oh no, another one of these days. This whole change of COVID isolation and all the things that we're no longer able to do, and the things that we need to be practicing, the people that we can't see, the gatherings that we can't attend, our loved ones who we usually visit in summertime, and we can't do that now. It's all kind of getting to me a little bit, I think. So that's my daily confession. Waking up with a little heaviness today. And I wonder how many of you are feeling that as well. Waking up with the heaviness of our times rather than the anticipation of the joy that we perhaps used to wake up with. So these kinds of things are reasons for us to practice our mantra practice, our meditation practice. And so yay for us that we are involved in a practice that can help us with these things. So we're going to talk about slowing down today. This is the third step in the 8-point process, the 8-point step of meditation that Eswaran speaks about. And I'm going to reread one little thing here that I read to you yesterday. He's talking about how our rushing around in our lives, the physical rushing around that we do affects our mind. He says initially our bodies do the speeding under our conscious direction. We run down the stairs. We bolt into rooms. We slam doors. It's all mainly physical. But after a while, we become habituated to going faster and faster. And speed gradually takes over the mind. A kind of compulsive pressure builds up. Now we really have a problem because it's very hard to change such a pattern of living. Just as an eye cannot observe its own working, so a rapid mind can't take the time to perceive its own rapidity. So we get caught up in this cycle of rushing, being fast, doing everything at a rapid pace. When the mind starts whirring in this way, a person easily loses control of his thoughts and his actions. So Eswaran gives us a few suggestions about how we can slow down. And so I thought I would just talk just a little tiny bit about these things, and then we'll get into our practice. So the first thing he mentions is a suggestion to rise early. I know for myself, I do have a habit of rising early. And if I let myself sleep in, then my patterns change. If I sleep in and wake up, I feel like I'm kind of rushing to get the things done that I want to get done because I've lost a few hours in my early morning. So even if my practice is to rise early, do some mantra practice, have some coffee, read some news, pop onto social media, do a lot of these kind of what we might think of as slow-paced things in the morning, there are still a number of things that my body and my mind like to do in the mornings. So if I rise early, I can set a relaxed pace for doing those things and then moving into the physical part of my day. If I get up late, then I'm not sleepy when it's bedtime, and I end up staying up later and later and later. And that puts me in a negative cycle. So that's one, rise early. Another suggestion that he has is to eat slowly at meal times. So how many times do we make delicious food for ourselves and then we hurriedly eat it? And before we know it's gone, we've had that meal, but we haven't really taken the time to enjoy that meal. We haven't taken the time to really taste all the flavors that went into preparing whatever we're eating. We haven't taken the time to acknowledge ourselves for preparing this delicious meal, or acknowledge and showing gratitude for others for preparing this delicious meal. There are many ways that when we rush through our eating, we don't allow ourselves to fully be grateful for being nourished in this way. So I think that's a good suggestion too, to eat slowly, have gratitude for what we're eating, acknowledge the time and effort and love that went into preparing this meal for us. The next thing that he notes is it's a good thing to arrive beforehand at your job and work on the essentials at a steady rate, so as not to be pushed by the clock or by competitiveness to get things done. Now, I acknowledge the fact that we're not in work environments right now. We're not going to work. We're doing these things at home. So whether or not we're doing work at home or doing projects that we are engaged in at home, or perhaps we're doing some online meetings perhaps we're meeting with friends virtually online, whatever we have lined up for ourselves as sort of a work day, whatever we have lined up there, if we arrive early to what we're going to do, this helps to, again, keep the pace slow and steady rather than rushing. Even if we are going places, perhaps we have places to go and places to be, even in this COVID environment. Excuse me. And if that's the case, maybe we get in our car a little bit earlier, leave a little bit earlier, so that we can arrive a little early and not feel rushed by traffic, rushed by having to get there. We can take our time, be at a slower pace. The next thing that he says is to build friendly and loving relationships. So whether we're doing that online now to keep up with our friends and our family, or whether we are perhaps meeting as we social distance, meeting out somewhere, whatever way we're continuing to nurture our relationships, it's important to still do those things. That helps us to drop into this place of being a little slower, a little more purposeful with what we're doing. The next thing he notes is practicing patience at every opportunity. So we may be wanting things to move at a faster pace. We may be wanting desperately to get back to our lives as they were before. We may have parts of those lives that we want to get back to, others not so much. But it's important, I think, that we do all we can to practice being patient, practice being, I'll just say that, being, rather than always being in a place of wanting to be doing. So practicing patience, very good. The next thing, cultivate discrimination in our recreation and choose those things that truly do revitalize us, rather than choosing those things that drain our time and our energy. So what are those things that we can maybe label as recreation? What are those things that we can do that will nurture our being? You know, maybe it's something like taking nice long walks out in nature. Maybe it's something like finding a piece of nature that we love. Maybe it's a big tree in our neighborhood, or maybe it's a little creek or a little stream that we know about, that we could go sit beside. Maybe it's arranging a walk with someone through neighborhoods that we haven't explored before. You know, I think there are a lot of things that we can do now. A yoga practice, a yogasana practice, why don't I name that right away, since I'm a yoga teacher? But maybe we want to engage in a yoga practice, a yogasana practice, the physical part of yoga, to find a little bit of recreation that is a little slower paced and a little more nurturing than rushing around and doing something, you know, at the gym or on a treadmill, or, you know, something that just keeps us going, moving. And he notes here that the mantra is also for particularly helpful in the case of hurry, because it gives the restless mind something to fasten on and gradually slows it down. So, and then the very last thing he says here, which is important, it says that we should never allow ourselves to be rushed by others. So if we're creating a slow pace for ourselves, and we're creating a schedule that will allow us to drop into a slower pace, we shouldn't allow others to rush us into more meetings, more activities, guilt over not being active, you know, these kinds of things. So don't let others influence us. Just find the pace that's important for us and for yourself, and keep that pace. So that's what we have to say this morning about slowing down, the importance of slowing down. And I guess I want to add one more thing, and that is that it's a good thing to know how to say no. And I know that Lisa is on here this morning, and Lisa and I were in a little women's gathering that we were doing every week, every Saturday afternoon, gathering together and just sharing how we were feeling through this whole pandemic. And one of the things that she noted was that when all of this started, there were so many things that became available online that you could sign up for. And that would have filled the schedule up. And we would have perhaps been rushing from one Zoom meeting to another, one Zoom class to another, one Zoom training to another, you know. And Lisa said, you know, I just chose not to do any of it. I didn't want to engage myself in anything. I just wanted to slow down and be. And so, you know, I think that's a very good practice, just to slow down and be, and kind of try to sort through. So what she was doing is she wasn't letting all of these outside influences affect her. She wasn't letting them affect her in choosing to create a busy, crazy schedule. She was honoring what she felt was important to her. Excuse me. Another little sip here. I woke up with a bit of a tickly throat this morning. So, in honor of thinking about slowing down this morning, we're going to do our mantra at a very slow pace today. We will not get through our full 108. We will do it very slowly and stop in about 20 or 25 minutes. And I want to remind you that Ishwaran said that when we're doing this mantra, a mantra at a slow pace, we're imagining that each of the words is a pearl dropping into the water, and just watching that pearl send those beautiful ripples out into the water. So that's what we do now. Go ahead and close your eyes. Take a moment to get yourself centered. Take a moment to soften. And we'll take an inhale to begin. Sarve Bhavantu. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadraṇi Paśyantu ma kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaḥ. Sarve Santu Nirāmayāḥ. Sarve Bhadrāṇi Paśyantu. Ma Kaścidduḥkha Bhāg Bhavet. Sit in the silence of your sound vibration. that brings us to the end of our practice today. So I really loved that slow-paced practice that we did today. And I'd like to hear how you felt about it. Let me know if you prefer the slower practice or a faster practice. Yeah, I'd like to hear from you about that. How was this practice for you today? This nice, slow practice. Perhaps we'll circle back to that if we all decide that that's what we'd like to do. A slow practice, not doing the full 108 rounds, but really sinking into each word of the mantra, letting it drop like Iswaran suggests, like a pearl dropping into the water. All right, thank you for being with me this morning. I will see you tomorrow morning, same time. Bye-bye.